Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Universe Within podcast. This episode of the show is sponsored by the Amazonian Plant Healing Center, the Temple of the Way of Light. They run ayahuasca ceremonies in the Shipibo lineage. They offer 12-day workshops with 6 different ceremonies, working with 4 curanderos or doctors, 2 or 3 facilitators, a yoga teacher, and just a really amazing support staff. And if anyone is interested in going to the Amazon and working with ayahuasca, always my recommendation is to go to the temple. It's a place that I've worked at, so I can really vouch for the quality and the depth of the work, the space that they hold. And really just they offer people a chance to go and fully experience the medicine of ayahuasca and all of the other plants that accompany that. You're really, when you're there, you're in very good hands. You're doing really deep work, and you're working with a tradition that has a lot of knowledge and depth and ability to really make magical or amazing things happen. So with the pandemic, they've been shut down for a while, but they're scheduled to reopen potentially in March. It may be a little bit further into the future, but they will be reopening. So you can check out templeofthewayoflight.org for more information on that. Today's guest is a gentleman named Tatayo, and I knew of Tatayo through my friend Debbie, who I work with. And he lives in Gabon, in the west coast of Africa, and he's been living there for, I think he said, over 40 years now. He came down as a young man and really just became enthralled by the culture and then also the medicine of Iboga. And as this work gets out there more, this plant-based work, entheogenic work, plant medicine, Iboga is often this kind of mysterious plant. It holds a lot of lore, but it's still not necessarily that accessible to people. Very few people relatively have still worked with it. And I think he's really an amazing ambassador for that plant. I had the opportunity to work with Iboga through one of his friends and students, and I know Debbie, and so that whole lineage, I think, just really does an amazing job with working with that plant. And it's an incredible plant. I mean, up until that time that I had personally worked with it, it was the most complete experience I had probably ever had in my life, and it was incredible, and really just something that has to be experienced. But having worked with it, I also know the depth that medicine can go, and really the importance of having a space, a well-held space, a safe space, a space that really allows one to fully let go and go deep into that medicine, and working with people who really know how to hold and navigate that space. So for me, it was really an honor to be able to speak with him, to speak with someone who's been working with that plant for so long, and who's been living in that culture and studying it, and he's been in a number of documentaries, and he's a fascinating guy, a very funny guy, and really well versed, well steeped in the culture of Gabon, the culture of Bwiti, of Fang, of Iboga. And so for me, it was really a pleasure to be able to speak with him. I think we went about 2.5 hours, maybe even a little bit longer, and he shared a lot about Gabon, about the culture, about the traditions of Iboga, and really just about life and some of his views and what he's seen in his 40 years of living and working there. So I hope you all really enjoy this episode as much as I did. As always, if you're able to support the show, that's a really big help. If you're able to do that through donation, either direct donation through PayPal, or a really good option is Patreon. Patreon offers you the ability to subscribe to the show via different tiers, and with each of those tiers you get something back, things like early access to shows, Q&As, bonus material, extended interviews, things like that. And it's a really big support to me to be able to keep bringing these guests on and get this really, I think, important information out there. So if you're able to do that, thank you very much. To all the people who have subscribed through Patreon, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. To all the people who've directly donated, also thank you very much. If you're not able to do that, if you're able just to take a few seconds and go on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bells, like the video, that's a really big help. And then for the audio version, going on Apple Podcasts, subscribing to the show, and then leaving a starred rating and a review. Seems like a really small thing, but it actually really helps with the show for getting it out to a bigger audience and helping with the algorithms and things like that. So that's it. Without further ado, here is my conversation with Tatayo.
Jean, he's there for 30 years, about 25 at least.
Oh, wow.
Linzonzo. Yeah. Jean, it will come back to me if you need it. He's making Gabonese harp in Peru.
That's amazing.
Something special, huh?
Can I leave you?
Yes. Yeah. Leave me alone. Oh.
I'll see you later, Jay.
She's harassing me. You know, she's a sex addict, a fanatic, she's everything.
That's why we Have fun, Jay. Have fun.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you.
Okay.
He said thank you. I don't know why, but he said thank you. Bye-bye. She's very, you know, so long, huh?
Yeah, she's amazing. We've known each other for about 8 or 9 years now, I think.
Since she came here, we had new activities. You know, she really improved the funding, the communication, and the getting goods, getting money, and communication, and it's very nice. And that's how I meet you too. So
yeah, well, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yes, I said, how much it will bring? But she said, oh, no, it's to promote. Okay, let's promote.
Well, good, man. Do you have any questions for me before we begin, or should we just get into it?
No. Do you have a kind of questions, or no? Just let's go away. I have no question. You're doing medicine in Temple of the Way of Light. You did that. It's over for now.
Yeah, that's how I met Debbie. We've been working together for the last, I don't know, 8 or 9 years at the temple, working with ayahuasca. And then I also work here in this Cusco area, working with tobacco. That's one of the other plants I work with. And I met Andrea Minaga. I think you know her. I did Iboga with her and Debbie.
Yes, very good. Very nice people. Yeah. Yes. I suddenly remember the name of this guy called Jean-Pierre, but maybe he has a pseudo there. I don't know. Jean-Pierre. Pierre like the skin in Spanish. Jean-Pierre. He's around you, but I can maybe find a contact. So he could tell you about his experience too, but it was about 25 years ago. Whatever.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I'd love to talk to him.
Yeah. Luckily with Debbie, because she made a GoFund, and all the people wishing to come over to us or having been through us, they all send money with kind of $20,000 to spend 8 months. We are many people, you know, and there's a lot of misery around, so we could manage just by those people who gave what they could, €5, €10, $5, $20, $100. And it worked out up to now, where things seems to re-begin again. We have 3 banzis who just came, banzi being grantees, they come. 2 one from Hawaii, the other one from America and Australia, the other one from England. So it's very nice people coming to us. So in fact, at the very, you know, if I have to talk, if I talk about me, it's just to explain how Iboga came in my life.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in 71, I came to see my mother, 71, I came to see my mother. She was working for a company making a dam in Gabon, a French company. My mother was French. She came here to meet her, bon. She was with a man, but that man had trouble in France, so he left to Gabon. And he was running a hotel, and she came 1 year after, and she worked in a company. And 1 year after, I came for 2 weeks, and that's 49 years ago.
Wow.
That's the first point. Because I've been not seduced, but it was enthusiasming. I was a young guy of 21 years old, and it was so nice to meet very humble people, very simple people, very honest people, very non-numerous people. It was very nice people, really, really. And the colonization has been really strong, but by that time, they were still living in the country. I mean, in the forest, in the country. So they were simple. Now, in 40 years, they all came, well, 2/3 of the population came to town. And that's the main drama of here, I think, because they have good skills for the living in the nature, but they have no skills or really new skills to live in the cities. So it's like everywhere in the world, there are people is not as grounded as they were in the bush, not in the bush, in the land, and out of towns. And that's why I stayed, because it was very nice people, really, really nice. So I stayed, and one day I was working, well, because it's 72, let's say, 2 hours after having been a photographer with helicopter, making photos of logging camps, of oil producing, of all type of industries, very few industries. I improvised myself photographer. And by that time, it was enough to be a white man to be an expert, you know. That was another time too. So that's why I went to France, back to France with a Land Rover in 73. It took me 1 year and a half because we had adventures. And so later, a specialist in transport in Gabon contacted me to say, bring us 2 trucks to Gabon, I will pay you for that, and so on. And after a while, he had a kind of worries to cross Nigeria because it was after the Biafran War, so it was not quite. So he paid me a ticket by plane, and I came and I began to work as the guy who brings spare parts to the trucks or spare wheels. And one night, I had to bring a spare wheel the other side of the river. And on the way, in the darkness, in a really dark place, because there was no moon, I had a breakdown. The glow plug exploded, and I lost the compression of the engine and boom, breakdown. So I was in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know anywhere. So I saw, it's like in the fairy tale. I saw a little light 200 meters away. So I went to the light, of course, like a butterfly could do. And then I knocked the door, and then a wonderful man appeared with a big beard, which was, by that time, he was about 40, was really black, intense eyes. He had a little green hat and a big beard and harlequin costume. It was really beautiful. So he became my friend. And he brought me to his boss, and the boss made the welder come, and the welding has been done. And but the friendship was already contact, you know, so we became friends from that day. then when I was a truck driver, when I drive truck for more than 16 years between the main town of Gabon to the far towns. Gabon is a small country, it's about half of France. And the roads are very bad, and they were very bad. They are a little better, depends where. But that was the point. The point is, I met this man, and this man was doing Bwiti, was doing Iboga. And he was very pure man, very faithful, very friendly, very loving. So we had a lot of meetings for years, because by that time, people were saying very bad things about Iboga. And really bad. Because, you know, evangelists and Catholics came here to colonize the country, and they made very bad comments about Iboga culture, about Bwiti culture, like they did everywhere, you know. It's a kind of Christopher Columbus syndrome. You come, you think you are the good one. They've been fucked up because they saw white people coming, they thought they were spirits. You know, because all people in the world, when they want to represent spirit, they put the white color, because the spirit, it's transparent. There's no color for the spirit, but white is what's the closest to transparency. So they all believe that those white people were spirits, you know. And that's very strange. Sorry. Yes, I have many people here, and we're busy because they just came, the foreigners, and we try to make it correct for everybody, so it's not easy, but it's okay. Whatever. I don't want to be too long on my story, but if you want, the first point that meeting those people, then after 3 years of weekly meetings, because I was a driver of truck, so I was passing by the village, every time stopping. When I had things to give, I was giving things for building or for food or whatever. So they became my family. And after 3 years, whatever people say, I said, if these people want to eat me, they have to eat me because they are very nice people. So I prefer to be eaten by nice people than to, in fact, you know, as we have some kind of goods, which we have people coming to us in difficulties. There's a lot of difficulties here because it's a rich country with very poor people. Because as I told you, they don't have the skills to live in town. So as the deciders were in school, in Catholic school or Protestant school, they were told that their own tradition were bad. I don't think they believed it, but they do as they believed it. So deciders are not very often on the side of tradition. It begins to be better with this new government, but it's not that perfect, right? It works. People allow tradition to work on, but it's difficult, but whatever. Iboga was met. So in 79, I ate Iboga. After 3 years of frequentation, of meetings, I decided to eat Iboga. And that was wonderful something. And I had a feeling in the morning, I had a feeling that I had to do something in the forest to stop the death coming on the village. I don't know what I felt the death on the village, so I did something very strange. I cleaned the village in a white basin. I took the stabs, I took the rubbish, I took everything who was in the temple after the ceremony, and I bring it to the rubbish place. And on the same time, stupidly, I took the radio of one of the simple-minded guy who was listening all the time to his fucking bloody radio in short waves, you know, while you are in Iboga, it's really disturbing. But Africa stands everything, so okay. So in this cleaning operation, I took the radio in the basin and I drowned the radio in the river, and then I put it in the rubbish pot. And the guy was observing me to see where is my radio going. But it means that I was at the foot of a tree, which is called the Glory. It's a tree. Well, I knew that after. I didn't know that by that time that this tree was called the Glory tree. He had big spines. He is from the family of the baobab. He's a ceiba, pentandra. And I had to climb that tree. So I climbed the tree. And when I came up to the tree, I was not far from the top. A voice said to me, a voice inside of me said to me, "What the fuck you doing here?" The other voice said, "You wanted to climb, so you had to climb." So I climbed. And then, you know, it was spiny, very spiny. So crank, 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 tack, 1 foot more, 1 step more, 1 step forward, and then the tree put me down without breaking, and I was on the ground again. It was a young tree, you know, about maybe 15 years old, so it was still the opposite of rigid, you know.
Supple. Mm-hmm.
So, but symbolically, years after, I understood that I went to the top of the Glory, and that the Glory put me on the ground again. So I have, maybe it's a symbolic way to say you have a mission to accomplish. But I just understand that very late in my life, because this was crazy for me. It was like doing something against a curse, you know. And I missed it, in fact, because the curse was on, I'm sure. And I wanted to stop it, but this thing of the radio made those people coming out. They shouldn't have been out. I don't, you know, it's all about, I think, witchcraft and what you do as an innocent to stop witchcraft. And in fact, when you want to stop witchcraft, you do witchcraft because you took this fucking radio, which was disturbing you while initiation, which makes the guy who shouldn't have been out. So, bon, it's details. It only has importance because exactly 3 weeks after. Well, first of all, the day I ate Iboga, the guy of Equatorial Guinea, which was a Fang guy, which was the same tribe as where I was in, was a real despotic and heavy killer, was arrested the same day in his palace and led to jail. And 2 days after, he has been executed by the army, and they changed he was a president for 11 years. And but that was that day, you know. The day I came out, the day I climbed the tree, that day this guy was arrested after 11 years of despotism, and then 2 days after he was killed. Bon, it's just a detail, but it's strange, all that is strange. Mm-hmm. So, because I think Iboga is very often led to the political power, and which the metaphysical world does not like, but it can't help, it's like that. And that's very strange, but whatever. So after doing that, I went back to the village, and 3 weeks later, well, I took the blessing of everybody because I had not much bleeding hands and feet, but the blessings, and it was okay, you know? So just to tell you that 3 weeks after, my Bwiti father, my initiation leader, died the 9th of August. You see, I was out my initiation the 14th of July, and the 9th of August, my Bwiti initiation father died in a very strange circumstance. If you are a white man, you will say, this is tetanus. If you're a black man, you will say, this is witchcraft. But the symptoms are the same. So, because he had a wound at the foot, and maybe the wound gave him tetanus. But on another hand, people were very jealous of this guy because you don't know, because he was saying truth to people, because when I came out of initiation that day, he took me by his hand and we went to the road, and he said, "You see, this guy, where is coming from to eat Iboga? You don't even cross the road to see what we do here." So is it that who brought him bad luck? Is that tetanus? I don't know. What's very strange, that 3 weeks after my initiation, this guy died. And I think that's why the feeling I had about some death on the village, you know. He was only 50 years old, you know. I was 21. He was born the same year as my mother in 29, and he was 50, exactly 50. In fact, the first element was a breakdown at the road. 3 years after initiation, and then 20 years, I've been praying in front of a lamp. You know that, like this oil lamp of Aladdin, you see, a lamp, you know, a petrol lamp. So after 20 years of daily praying in front of a lamp, it was in 99, on the 29th of September, which is 20 years and 1 month after, 20 years and 2 months after my initiation, the genie of the lamp came, which is incredible. You cannot believe it, but I had a witness, and luckily, in fact, it came in a very strange way. The strange way is that we went to the beach, because I was resting after a ceremony where we, you know, there's two main different branches of Iboga practitioners here. One is supposed to be more spiritual. The other one is supposed to be more healing. But this is not like, you know, it's not, you can be healed in spiritual paths. You can be seeing divine in healing paths. It's not, there's not a big fence. Huh? There's a hair between them. Bon. The difference is technical. The way you do, the style is different, and the banzi, in one of the ritual, the banzi is lying down. On the other ritual, the banzi is sitting, and they ask him question. What do you see? What is that? And you have to see what's wrong. On the other ritual, they let you lying down and make your trip, and you'll tell people later. So, in fact, I'm here 20 years after, so we had a night of dancing, of joy, we call Meyaya, joyful dance, but two types of people came. The people more Fang, North Gabon rituals, and the people more originally Bwiti from the south. So it was strange, because normally it's different rituals, so it doesn't fit together. But we had only one night, and we couldn't do 2 nights, because you need food, you need drinks, you need to make people comfortable, and it was not possible. So we did only 1 night. So half of the night was the North rituals, the other half of the night was the South rituals. And that's what's incredible. In the morning of that ceremony, around 10, 11, where everybody nearly was gone, except us, we were around 7 at that time, still living here. Now we are more, but at that time we were 7. I remember that day. So I went to rest in the pygmy house, and that's where the fleas of the dog attacked me. So I was embarrassed. I took the dog and I went to the sea. And on the way to the sea is about 50 meters from here, not 100 yards, less. So luckily, the second granddaughter of Papa Andre, the brother of my initiator, was coming. He said, "Oh, I have news from the village. Where are you going?" I said, "I'm eaten by fleas. I go to the sea to drown the fleas. Come with me, you'll tell me the main news of the village, then we go back to the village." So I was handling the dog with a chain. She luckily came with me, and I went straight to the beach. She stayed up the beach after telling a few things. I went down, and I'm not a water guy. I'm a fireman, but not a water guy. I don't feel comfortable in water. I drown like, I swim like a stone, so I'm not easy in water. It's not my thing. So I went straight to the sea, and in between the legs of the dog and my feet, because I pulled the chain to put the dog in the water, was something. So it was a piece of wood. So I took the piece of wood, and in fact, when I took the piece of wood, I didn't know if I should pour water with this piece of wood on the dog or throw it away because it disturbed me, and it was this. I don't know if you can see that. It was this,
Wow.
So in fact, I went to wash the fleas of the dog, and I found that Jenny. You have to know that in Africa, the mask represents the Jenny, represent the ancestor, represent God, represent the divine. And the dog is supposed to be the first shaman. Because of course, in a culture of hunting, the dog is very important. So the dog is the first Ganga. So the first Ganga, the first shaman, led me to the spirit by the fleas. What's very strange that in French, when you say a flea, it's a flea, the animal, and it's a puce to like the SIM card. What is a SIM card? SIM card? So the word flea and SIM card is the same in French, in puce. So it was very strange because this SIM card led me to the beach to find this mask. And what's strange with this mask is it's the only one in Gabon danced by 9 ethnicities. Normally a mask is danced by 1 clan, 2 tribes, maximum 3, but this one is the most ecumenic one. So it's like, it's not like, the spirit told me, Tatayo, do what you don't dare to do, because my main problem, being a white man in Africa, white men in Africa, they did what they wanted, which was good and bad, but they did a lot of wrong. I think they did some kind of good, very good, and they did a lot of wrong by ignoring the knowledge of people, by thinking they are fucking black stupid, and stupidity, because when you colonize a country, who is coming? Militaries, eh? And there's a sociological laws who says if there is more than 8 people in a group, the leader is the most stupid one. So that's bon. I have to find out who said that, because he's a very well-known sociologist, but whatever. It seems to be true because in Africa, up to very recent time, the French, and I guess English did the kind of same, they were sending the people who, ex-bandit, ex all type of people, adventure. Well, some were good, I guess, I'm sure. But most of them were just to take advantage, fuck out, take money, and well, some were nice, but the big quantity were horrible people. So, well, the time was like that too, because evolution, well, it was very wrong to think that it's because they are black that they are no good, because, it came in the bloody Bible, that the kids of Noah were cursed because they saw the sex of their father, which is a really rude story, to my opinion. How can you be cursed just because you saw the sex of your father? What is a fucking stupid story that you find in the Bible, It's incredible. So Noah, this guy of the Bible, kicked off. That's what I say in the Bible, eh? I know the Bible, I smoke it all, So he said, Yula, go to the desert, I curse you. It was a cam or cham curse, you know. So it's supposed to be the black man. So the black men were cursed by Noah. And this is very heavy because I think in the churches, in the temples, they've been told that you are the cursed people that Noah chased, you know, and I think that has a lot of effect because slavery, colonial, and now kind of neo-colonial because now it's business everywhere. So it's very sad. But on another hand, just to explain you that I never wanted to take anything to Africa except being here and happy. So I never wanted to grab a knowledge or ask even what is this or that or that. I never did that. It's my nature to not ask what is it. So if you want to tell me, you tell me. But in Africa, if you don't ask, nobody tells you something. So they're making a bed for... tu sais qu'il est long, hein? Okay, good. He's making a bed for a long man. Donc, yes, I'm with very nice people, you know. Because, yeah, so well, I'm sorry about that. I'm just saying that I didn't want to grab knowledge or something. So it's like, so things came to me because when you don't want to learn, you know, everybody knows something. If you have a problem with your stomach, with your head, you just go to the man next door. If he's an old man, he will know which plant, which bark. And you know, bon, somebody like Debbie is very interested in that. She wants to know all about plants. But it was not my function. But it's her talent, it's not mine. My talent was to, if I have a talent, my talent was to make people together. Many tribes, many different people, different knowledge. It's not in fact a plan. I had no plan. I never had a plan, but it came like that together. So I had 3 kids with a woman that I did not marry, but she was born in Africa from French parents. She was a sailor. She came back after living in Africa all her young age. And at 25, 30, she came back to Africa to do what she missed with her parents. We were just, I wouldn't say ordinary because they're not ordinary. They were special people, but living the life of white people in Africa. You know? So I never wanted to say, I will learn how to initiate people. But I did that by practicing. But this, I had already the benediction, the blessings. I had the blessings of the people to do what I do, but I never wanted to do it up to that mask came. It's like this invisible world had told me, please, Tatayo, do what you have to do. And what you have to do is to make people together from the south, the north, from the east, and from the west, and from the center. Iboga is one. Bwiti is many, Iboga is one. Like divine is one, and men are many. But Gabonese people were we used to be very wise. They used to say there's 2 tribes, male and female, men, boys and girls, men and women. The rest is cultural, and it's very true. We are only 2 tribes as human on this planet, male and female. And it's true that we have 2 different type of nature, of feeling, of physical appearance. So, and my problem, if I have a problem, as long as we don't make girls and boys it's not, we don't make girls and boys respect each other at the same level, we won't succeed anything. So that's why we're in trouble, I think. It's one of the reasons, it's one of the main reasons why the world is in trouble, is because most of the men, not all of them, but most are considering women inferior, and very much in the tradition too. It's just, excuse me, rural society. They live in their village, and they need, it's like in a theater, you know, you actors and spectators. You know spectators, you understand? Mm-hmm. The one who acts and the one who look. And mainly in Gabon, in the villages before and still, the actors are the male and the spectators are the kids and the women. So when you have a spirit dancing, of course the male are managing the thing, and the women and kids, they are just there to answer to the song, which is very important, dance, but not being the main actors, you know. So, and it's made like that, and it works like that for centuries, I think. But I don't want to destroy that at all, but I would like to make this more equal, you know, because you know, it was a, excuse me, it was a very polygamic society. In the rural world, it was a polygamic society. So every man had 3 wives, 5 wives, 8 wives, but it was because they had plantations and they could plant and feed the kids. This guy had with this woman, plus 2 kids he had with that one, plus no kid he had with that one. And those women were the women of the old man, but the old man was old. So in fact, the nephew was taking advantage. You know what I mean? But it worked for centuries. But now, in the urban life, polygamy is not possible because a man would need to have much money to do that in an urban world. So it's now women who have few lovers, and the polygamy became an androgamy. Factual androgamy is very strange because I say 35, 40, 50 years ago, every man had 1, 2, 3, 4 women, minimum. It was a way of surviving in an environment in the forest, in the villages, to survive and to well. And every wife had her son, had her plantation, had her kids, her space, her lover, her husband, you know, and it was working okay. But now in town, there's a lot of misery. So a lot of girls are selling themselves to eat daily. So it's not, we cannot call that prostitution because it's not prostitution in the way you do that in the way people do that in Western world. It's just a surviving way of living, you know. So it's not, I wouldn't talk about that because this makes me nervous in the sense that the school level is becoming very, very low. The health is very low. Bon, the hospitals are brand new, very nice buildings. It's very, but the competence of the people, they have big machines. The competence of the people is not always present because it's not easy, because there's many difficulties. Some doctors are very good, of course, but they are kind of lost in the middle of a lot of incompetence. And if you go to hospital, if you don't have money, you will first before being healed. If you go to school, if you don't have money, you will go in very low-level schools. So money became the main agent of development. So there's no, it's difficult because there's a number of people who were very rich. Maybe Peru is the same. And a lot of people who are rich poor. So a small country like that, 2 million people on half of France, everybody's in town. Libreville has maybe 700,000. So I would say 1/3 of the population is in the main capital town. Then you have another third in other towns. And the last is the people in rural space. So from 80% rural, we became 80% urban. And that's a big drama of Gabon. But Iboga in that comes through association like us. It very impresses people that some people like you or this guy from Hawaii or this man from Australia or this one from England or this one from even New Zealand or Germany, Holland come to pay a big costly ticket of plane, then costly stay, because life is very expensive in Gabon, and the opportunity that Ebando wants to give and that we wanted to give through the webinar is a possibility to people to choose a place where they can be in confidence, in trust, and eat Iboga in the environment they decide, you know, because us, we become to be too close of the town. Well, it became a residential area in the sense that the president lives just next door for 7 months. He's our new neighbor. And we are kind of protected area somewhere. Nobody disturbed us up to now. It was here, the forest nearby the sea, and it became, in 40 years, it became residential area. So if some people prefer to go in the forest, some people go to a village, more typical village, we want to give them this opportunity, but being safe, because there's a bridge. But I guess in Peru, it's the same. You need to be a bridge between local culture and what this foreigner wants to get, you know. And because everybody's expecting something, the foreigners sometimes have a kind of image of the wild world or the wild people, the supposed wild people, and the supposed white people, they have a photo too of the Westerner coming. He is a piece of you know, it depends how the people is honest and true, and you know, we want to make it honest. So it's not easy, because I saw many wrong things happening in initiation for, you know, the guys in Iboga for a few hours already, and suddenly, oh, we need candles, or we need, the old man wants to bring something, or we need money to go and buy something there, and this disturbing the guy who came for his original, sincere and true spiritual travel. Suddenly it's off, you know, because oh, where is my passport? Oh, where is my money? Oh, the trip is over. So I saw it many times happening when I was a young man, and so now it's strict to never disturb the guy who came. We call him the banzi. Banzi means to, you know, when you have a seed, you have to break seed to find it's good to eat inside, you know, and that's banzi. Banzi is to break the, you know, like a shell, you know, like an oyster. Yeah, you have to break the shell have what's important, you know, what
Wow.
we call in fact, in French, the scientific matter, you know. So, in fact, some people don't, some people do see the importance of letting a banzi quiet and having his own experience and to protect him from intruders, spiritual intruders, physical intruders, or just people come to disturb, you know. Because in Gabon, in a village, when there is a ceremony, it's heard because you call the spirit, but you call the spirit, you call the people too. And the people come with different interests. Some will want to see the women dance. Some will want to come and have a drink. Some will come and will spend the night instead of doing themselves while sleeping on a Saturday night, you know. So the interest of the people into Bwiti is different according to different people. So you cannot ask a whole population to be nicely intended. So I think it's very important, but I think I'm not the only one to think that for initiation time, the principal initiation night, you have to be very protected and in an intimate environment. You have to know the people present. You have to not fear anybody. That if not, you spoil it. And that's a problem if you go to any village. Some will know those way of doing, but some will not have the possibility of stopping the neighbor to be stupid because it's your neighbor. Oh, Joe, stop it, please. So Joe will say, oh, wow, you let me do. I'm here, it's my village, no? There's no wall. So we made, it can't, you know, I never made a wall around my house, but people around my house know all around me because here in Gabon, if you don't have a wall, people cross your property because the freeway, it's a freeway. If there's no wall, they will pass like in America where no walls because people respect the grass of the neighbor. It's different, you know. So here, if you don't make wall, you have people passing by. Well, it's not especially disturbing, but it's strange. So when people have some many walls, you know. So I told them, these people, finally, Bwiti has to become private. So you invite the people you choose to do ceremony with you, and that protects the banzi, that's different, and then can be in your place with your friends or your family doing what you feel to be the best for the banzi instead of being somewhere where the banzi is not protected because there's one drunken man coming in the middle of the ceremony saying some truth of drunken man and then leaving or not leaving. It spoils the important, you know, and most of the village, they don't have the power to do that to the neighbor. You know, in Africa, people is believing very much in witchcraft. So if you say something wrong to your neighbor, came to your ceremony in front of everybody, you can fear witchcraft because if he feels injured, not injured, but insulted, he will do something against you. He just talk bad, but you know, in the villages, well, I don't say villages are dangerous, but people are nice, mainly nice. You have the risk to be disturbed in the middle of your ceremony because your shaman wouldn't make the intruder away because it's his uncle or it's his nephew or it's his neighbor, which has very much importance for him. So I wouldn't advise a beginner to go to a place without this or without being accompanied by people from our place who knows that he must not disturb the banzi. He came with his goodwill He came with his trust. He came with his energy, his money, his hopes, and you must not beat that. And you know what I say about that? It's we had about 330 trainers coming in first. And because of Debbie, who dared to do a GoFund, we've been living without problem of economical problem from these COVID times, because people remind the good we did, the good we will do, I hope. So very grateful for that, because I gave my heart to that. This, I don't know if it's an accomplishment or just a life or a mission, or I don't know. But there's a lot of feedback. You know, I spent my life here. I came for 2 weeks, 49 years ago. I have many friends. I think my only good quality is to know who can do what and who couldn't do that. Well, I might be wrong sometimes, sure. Mainly, I know the talent of a few people. You know, 49 years is a long time. And that's where my point is. I can choose the best people to help you on a special problem you might have, or on a special need, because some ritual very animistic and aesthetic. Some are more influenced by Christianity. The aesthetic is different, but the aim is, there's a lot of quality possible. It depends. You cannot say one ritual is less or more than the other one, but they both, the Christian, boy, the Christian, I don't have too much sympathy, but for me, if Jesus Christ existed, the message, the concept of the message is very beautiful. Being good to you, so you can be good to your neighbor. If you love you, you love your neighbor. It's evident, and that's typical of the tradition. If you are a good man, you will do good, and then if you do good, you will have self-esteem, and if you have self-esteem, you will estimate your neighbor, and if you have self-esteem and if you are confident, you will do good around you, and it will do good. But you know, I don't see any difference between Christic way and shamanic way, as long as the intent is pure and loving, you know. So why not Jesus Christ? Why not Buddha? Why not Muhammad? I don't know much about religion, but I know that religion are not good, in the sense that they make people suspicious of the other religion. So Buddhists are better than Muslims, that are better than Christians, better than Bwiti. All this is shit for me. So I'm not very religious. So I like the word spiritual. It doesn't mean much, but it is. I don't like the word religious. It is just a word. In the name of religion, we did a slaughtering, as you know. Where are you from, you? Where are you from?
Originally
Originally.
from the U.S., but I've I actually lived in France for a little while. I've lived in different countries, and now the last 10 years or so in Latin America.
10 years, huh? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I think I talk too much. And I think your ancestors, but I don't know, right, commit genocide like mine, more or less, just not by being bad, by ignorance, just, you know. And you see that, like, what it's a reproach I do, America, not to you. The reproach people can do to French here, not me, but to French. That, you know, like this Trump, guy. Well, he's a poor man, but he just say, you took the land of those people, and now you say they are immigrants. You know, somehow. You know, we made even here. We made the people we found at we took their land, and now we say, you bloody, you know, what we do to Indians in America is rotten. What French did area or in Central Africa is no. What Australians did to is not good. So we all are. I don't know how to say that, because, you know, when you meet a black man here, if we are trouble with him, he will say, it's your fault. It's your fault. You. It's like if I killed his ancestor, you know. Like Indians could say, you. It's your fault if they are all drunk, because they have no of being something else than drunk, you know. So I feel very bad about that, but I don't know how to change that, because what our ancestors did is not us, and we had a depth of of memory. You know, we have to memory, and we have to remind what happened. Une dette de mémoire et reparation. But bon, you do the way, and I do the way I can. It's not your fault, it's not my fault, but the past has been very harsh, very harsh. And maybe the future will be even harsher, because you have kids?
Not yet, no.
How old are you? Excuse me.
I just turned 40, so I have to start soon.
Yes. I had the first kid I was 38.
Oh wow.
So yeah, now I'm 70, and I have. Well, I had 3 kids at 24, because Africa medicine, and my daughter, who's 24, just made 2 boys. I see her very courageous, you know. To do kids in this time, well, luckily I'm 70, so I'm not at your level. You still have a long hope life. Mine water, so I feel more comfortable. I think I had very, as a Western original Western guy, I had a very good life up to now, because my generation was the first generation with LSD, and I'm sure it's why I didn't fear Iboga. After 3 years of, I talk about good LSD. I don't talk about the CIA LSD, which was rotten to make people stupid and addicts. That's another type of drugs. But LSD in its pure form really is closer somehow, in the sense that it shows you, if you're a little wise, the essential life is to be simple. And that's what Iboga shows, be simple and true. And to yeah, you know what Bwiti Fang tells us, all of it. Some people don't see that, but it's a bad luck, because we, in true, simplicity is very close to truth, you know, or truth is very close to simplicity. So, in fact, all the events happened in my life were just, I think my main mission, if I had a mission, is to make Iboga known. You know. I'm not the only one, luckily. Luckily, I'm not the only one, but I was once one. And it's so fundamental that even if I wouldn't have been there, somebody would do what I do because to be done, you know. So I really do think that Iboga is major. Bwiti can be major, but there's many orthodox in of Bwiti. It's a way to the supposed secrets. It's a way of making people happy together, because as you know, there's no too many entertainment. People are working, plantation, going back to the village, eating once a day in the late evening. In the morning they eat was left the night. Then they go back. And life is cool, but hard work to get fed when you make a lot of kids. And now it's difficult because you have to pay for school. Everybody in town, life is hard. You have transport, to pay. So instead of making the life simple, people in town is making life complicated because too many people in the same area makes things complicated. And I saw a lot of happiness before and now. This happiness is still existing, but very much less than before, I think, because people is like everywhere, easy to earn their life, to go on, you know. And I used to say, Western world is yesterday and tomorrow, African world is today. And I think everybody is wrong because it's yesterday, today, and tomorrow. But Western world is very much into today and tomorrow. And Africa has an urgency in today. And they are not used to think about tomorrow. For most of them, no time. They have no struggle is today, not tomorrow. Struggle is for the moment today. It's different cultures, you know, and make a bridge between those cultures because they both have. I used to tell them, you think the Western culture is 100% good, yours 80% bad. Does it disturb the noise? Yes, maybe. Huh?
A little, but it's okay.
I can go inside maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
One light. Right. Yes. So culture I used to tell them, as I know, that half of the Western culture is to keep, but the other half is to kick away. And the same in Africa, half of the culture is great, and the other half is very dark and like everywhere, you know. And look, they've been really, really fascinated by the Western culture, of course. So they don't see the difference between a leaf. A leaf was used to cover something, to, you know, like a plastic bag. In Africa, before the plastic bag, it was a leaf. Now, white man brought the plastic bag, so they see the plastic bag as a leaf. So the leaf, you throw it down on the ground, and it's a leaf. It's organic, it's no problem. But the plastic bag, you throw it on the ground, and it's a rubbish for 20 years. So that's the problem, because they think that white people came and they are fantastic, and they don't see that plastic bag is a rubbish. And when you tell a kid, please make the place clean, they will clean the leaves and leave the rubbish bag, because, you know, it's like they've been so fascinated by the Western world that they do not consider that plastic bag is rubbish. And that's very, very, very harsh, because in town, plastic is everywhere. In the rivers, plastic is everywhere. I mean, there are 7 rivers around here, in the main capital. They're all full of plastic bottles, plastic rubbish, and here Gabon is small. Just imagine you go to Cameroon or Nigeria or Congo, where there are many people. So the fascination of the culture, you know, and now people like of your age or younger or older come to Gabon to discover the culture, and they first are fascinated by the black culture, the local cultures, which are very beautiful. But if you come only 2 weeks, you cannot see if you're lucky, you cannot see the wrong side, because it's magnifico. It's splendid. It's joyful. It's happy. It's loving, and you don't see the backside or there's. I don't say Bwiti is bad. Huh? I mean, if you don't live here longer, you can be charmed by the attitude of the people in the Bwiti, or you can be really disturbed by by another attitude, depending on the place where you go. So, because you know, there's so many things, not 49 years, there's so many things, like people grabbing a European, oh, come on, I'm going to initiate you. So the guy is naive, he just go behind the shop of the guy, and then he will talk to the trees for 3 weeks, being half of crazy because it was not done correctly, you know, or it was done too fast, or it was done with a bad intent. So if my podcast can serve to something, it's not because the guy is black that he is totally beautiful. You have different type of people in Africa, like you have everywhere. Some people have a good intent and will be great to you, and some people have a wrong intent and they will be taking advantage on you, even if it's not the nature of Gabonese people to be a crook, because Gabonese people were the most honest people I knew, but urban life made them different, because not all of them, but a lot are really corrupted by the money power. And it's easy. There's a Congolese proverb which says, misery does not heal misery. And that's very true, that you cannot help misery to be miserable. And that's very bad. You have many people, they can be poor and live well together, but if there is one of them trying to emerge from that, it's very difficult, because the weight of the family, the weight of, why you and not me? And this makes life very complicated to an African now in an urban system. And that's very sad, because most of them, they are very nice people. But as Gabon is kind of wealthy country compared to others, a lot of migrants came in the wish after Gabon, they will go to Europe, but they stay here. They are not bad, but they make kids to have a permit of staying. and then they stay here. And the mentality is changing slowly. Bon. On another hand, it's it's like Bob Marley said about Exodus. We all want to the country of the other one. Like you will go to Peru, I go to Gabon, Peruvian guy will go to Bolivia, or Gabonese guy will go to France, and maybe in 200 years we will all be less stupid. That's what we can hope.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well,
That's yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think a lot of people have heard of some of these plants like ayahuasca, mushrooms. They're becoming much more common, and I think Iboga is starting to get out there. But I think a lot of people have heard of it, but it's kind of mysterious in a way. It's like this mysterious plant. It's in Africa. They know it's very strong. It's very intense. A lot of people are afraid of it because just the idea of being somewhere else for 2 days, for 2 weeks, maybe, it's very scary. What is the history of Iboga and Bwiti, and how was it originally used? Because it's often spoken in this way of an initiation that maybe is only done once in someone's life. Like you said, this idea of cracking a seed open to allow the essence of the seed to come out.
In fact, according to the tribes, it came differently. The North tribe, they had a clue about Iboga very recently, 1920. They were using another plant, but a difficult plant to manage, and then they were doing other rituals with skulls of ancestors, praying on skulls of some ancestors, using another psychotrop, which was much dangerous. But they, in the 20s, they had to find money to marry girls, because money came in the 20s. So the ancient way of getting married was off. So they had to find money to marry the women they wanted to marry. So they went to work in the logging camps. That's where they met the South people and Center people who were working as loggers too in the logging companies. And that's how Bwiti became national, I would say. But everybody keeping the skills of his tribe and doing it in the way it's like today in the Western world, people become Bwiti people and then they invent new way of doing it, which is good or bad, I don't know, but it's something else. But historically, according to tribes, there's different founding myths, different according to different tribes. One of them is beautiful. It was well, they are all beautiful, but they are very different. For the Apinji tribe, they used to say that, no, they don't used to say, because that's a secret, but it shouldn't be secret. That's where maybe people like me can betray. I don't betray the secret because I don't see why it's a secret. Why would it be a secret to say once a guy was very, what is the first disease of human? Do you know that? That's a question. Do you know what's the first sickness of man? It's not sickness in real terms. It's not sickness, but it's something which happens to man, which appears to be a sickness. What is it? You have an answer? No.
For me, it would probably be this archetype of the, like in a Christian sense, the fall from Eden, the split, the duality,
yeah, that's elaborated. The first disease of man. That's how they ask the question here. Do you know what's the first problem of man is hunger. So the guy is in his forest, he's hungry, so he wants to find food. So he goes around, he goes around, he goes around, try to hunt, try to fish, and then he feels asleep against, not far from falls, waterfalls. And in the night, during his dream, his hungry dream, a woman came to him in his dream, of course, white, like spirit, you know. And she said, if you want to stop your hunger, go and eat this plant. That's how the Pygmy tribe said they found Iboga, just by a dream of a man who was hungry. And then he ate the plant, this genie or this character in the dream came, and that's how they found Iboga. Huh? And Iboga is the smallest tree of the forest, but he's the king, you know. It's like the pygmy is the king. He is not tall like a Senegalese or like a Bantu, but he knows all the forest like his pocket, you know. He has no pocket. so whatever. It's incredible because it's beautiful. And some other, there are different founding myths. They are not myths. I think all the founding, you know, like my story of this spirit coming between the legs of the dog and mine will be a founding myth in 2 centuries, or, you know, oh, and the guy went to the sea and the genie came, and, well, you know, they will make it bigger and bigger, you know. But it's, so, because it's like that, the tribes were very much in kind of competition before, you know, because when you needed to have a woman, what do? You go in the next tribe and you kidnap a woman, because you cannot marry a woman from your own clan, because it's insane or incest. So you have to find a woman somewhere else. So that's how the tribes began to melt, because they needed women or husband from a different blood, you know. So then you have many different rituals. You have different origin of the history of Iboga is very, very different according to the tribes. But always at the beginning, there's a dream or somebody who meet somebody, like she went, her husband disappeared. That's another tribe. A man disappeared in the bush. And then the woman was very worried, so she went to find her husband. Where is my husband? He left 2 days, he didn't come back, so I'm very worried. I go and find him. And she go and she didn't find her husband. So I don't remember how it is. It's something about the bones. So she could only find the bones. I have to remind that. So she had to, it's the bones of her husband. I don't remember if it's the bone of her husband, of the bones of the woman who became the Iboga. Like, or did he sacrifice his woman? And, you know, bon, I have to remind that because I have much things in my memory, and l'histoire de Benzo. The name of this woman was Benzo. Fang, they call it Benzo, but it's not Benzo. It's another tribe, so it's Benzo Q. I don't know what Benzo Q did to discover Iboga, but I think she discovered Iboga when her husband disappeared. And the place he was buried, or the place he died, she found Iboga. Or the opposite. I don't remember if it's her finding him and finding Iboga when she found his cadaver, or the opposite, whatever. There's always a story of sacrifice or hunger, a human problem, who was met and discovered a natural element who could help, you know. And I think Iboga is the most, do you know this book of Albert Hoffman? You know Albert Hoffman? Albert Hoffman wrote a book which is called Plants of the Gods. And there's a page on Iboga. And on this of Iboga is far from being, is far from giving all the secrets. And it's true, because every new man having an encounter with Iboga will find a new mission to accomplish. But the problem is at the very beginning you meet Iboga, your ego is destroyed, but through the experience, ego can become very, very massive and influence you on the wrong side. Like, it's not Iboga who does that, it's your ego. Like I know somebody, he became the reincarnation of Jesus Christ and Adam. As I told you, if you are the reincarnation of Jesus Christ and Adam, it's very good. And I felicitate you. It's a lot of job to accomplish. But please don't say it, because the fact to say it makes you a crazy man, you know. If you don't say it, just do your Jesus, be your Adam, and shut up. But he was really inspired to be that, and he was that. And he was a great dancer, a great healer, a great man, but he had only problems because the spirit does not like if you're not humble. I think the more you humble, the more you'll be light or help spirit or spirits. For me, it's the same. Singular or plural, whatever, gods or God, fucking care, because people is in single and single is in multiple, you know, so you understand what I mean, you know, because some people say, oh, God is only one. Yes, God is one, but he's one because he's many, and he's many because he's one. So what the fuck? It's not, that's not important. So that story, yeah, it's very symbolic, because this guy is a very good man, but the ego made him spoil his own thing. Maybe it will change. He's a young man, he's only 45 or now. He discovered the Iboga in 2000 because we made a temple in the university, the Bwiti temple, which was the first time making a Bwiti temple in the university. It was a great event. So that was a seminary about Bwiti university, the only university, and they made it a very nice event. And a man came to me and he said, oh, what, you white man, what are you doing? You're interested in our cultures. I said, you black man, what are you doing? I'm doing studies of international management or international business or what. I said, you black men, you and copy everything what white man did, and you're not able to follow what your ancestors did. And that's, in my opinion, not too good, you know, because some of you should follow the path of their own ancestors too. Something to his brain. And he went 5 years to study in a pygmy village. And he really studied Bwiti 5 years in pygmy village. And then he came back as a reincarnation of Jesus Christ and Adam. And he rose a village in a very nice place in the forest, not far from Libreville. And he became the chosen one, which is Alangana. And he is a very splendid man, full of good intention, but no humbleness, no humbleness. Neither the humbleness of Jesus Christ, neither the humbleness of Adam. Well, I don't know Adam, I live in Adam, well, one, but I don't believe even in Jesus Christ, but I don't care. Good intent and love is good. So Jesus, okay, Adam, okay, everybody okay, as long as he's a good man. But Adu Mangana had a big problem, one, because an American woman went to his place. She was already initiated in another village a long time ago. I knew her. And she came to his village and she really found the village nice. But so I gave her some Iboga like that. No preparation, pop, giving Iboga, not a spoon of Iboga, a shell. And this woman was kind of disturbed by her, not badly, but she needed to be in confidence and she was not. So she ate in the night and she disappeared for 2 days and 3 nights, or 3 days and 2 nights, I don't remember. So of course, it's a second woman. So everybody began to find her, and they couldn't, because she only reappeared by herself after having seen the cops on the road, you know. So she trusted more in cops than in Ganga, but it was her life. So this guy had to be 6 months in jail for that. So, and that destroyed him. Well, I think he will rise again from that. For the moment, he's in very big difficulty because just imagine American embassy made a blame on him, they jailed him, and that's it. But because his intent was totally beautiful, but the way he did was very, very, I am the one, and I'm the only one, and you are the one, and I am the one, but please, man, we are not the only, you know. So that's a problem of many gurus, you know. There are fucking only one. That's a lack of humbleness, and that kills, or that can kill much easier than tuberculosis, you know. So I wouldn't say I'm wise, you know, just old. So I saw many things like that. So I saw many things like that, and that's the danger with Iboga, because Iboga kick you in the ass, destroy your ego, but your ego has to restructure it, and sometimes it comes with new elements which are kind of just for you because it's a heavy job to be reincarnated with Jesus and Adamsi. So you know what I mean, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's where a lot of the ritual is so important, and having a strong community and support system is to hold you through that process, so that when you emerge, there's people to help to rebuild your ego in a solid way?
When you do initiation, it's so strong that you need people to be really, yeah, because, you know, the first time you eat Iboga, if it's in Peru, in Moscow, it's very important. And if the first time is done with good intent, it can work, really work. But, you know, before, we were only giving Iboga to old people in Gabon. I mean, before 40, it was very difficult to get Iboga, because people here considered Iboga as a mature, as a substance for mature people. But now, in the modern times, Iboga, you can be given to a kid. My daughter had Iboga at 13, but what she said is, I will do it again later, because of course at 13, you're not 25 or 40, you know. So I mean, Iboga was before more in the process of a wise person. You cannot be, well, you can be a wise kid, but a kid has not to be wise. A kid, you know. And so it was a substance for old people. Old people, 100 years ago, 40 was old, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because the climate here was strong, eh? It's still strong. Malaria and a lot of disease made people of 40 old men. Or 40 was a lot hope. To live 40 years was a lot of hope. And so it was a substance given to people at 35, 40. And now it's given to anybody if they ask for it. But Gabonese people don't eat Iboga for the discovering of Iboga. They eat Iboga if they have. Iboga is considered to. Iboga means the one who heals, etymologically. So everybody knows that Iboga is one who heals. So if you're sick, you go to Iboga to see why you are sick. If you're cursed, you go to Iboga to see why you are cursed. If you think you have problem with men or women or your boss or your dog, your environment or what, you go to Iboga. But it has to be a serious motivation. Your dog is not enough motivation, but your life with your parents or with your, yeah. So, you know, it's, that's what I found here. Iboga was not eaten by simple, not curiosity, but simple will of eating Iboga. You had to have a problem.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating because I was under the influence that a lot of people did it as an initiation, maybe more as like a coming of age or when they were younger. But that's really fascinating. You're saying it was more of like an older person's, which actually makes a lot of sense to me in a way, because even this idea of the death ceremony and the rebirth, it almost seems like there needs to be a natural maturation in someone to actually be wanting to get to a point in their life where they're very curious about death, and there's a reality that's lived in them that wants to go into that and has the courage to actually be willing to die and to see what's on the other side of that.
Absolutely. I really do think like that. I think so, and now what I see is some tribes, they give Iboga to really young kids, so it's just a game for them. I saw many people dancing with a skin of leopard at 14, 16, 17 in tribes. Who are you to dance with a skin of leopard? What is your knowledge? What is your experience of life to dance with a leopard at 14, 16, 18? Before, only really mature people and experienced people and wise people could wear that. And now in some tribes, it's like, it's like a game. And you can say anything because it's not your original culture. You cannot come and, you bloody, you do that, why? You shouldn't do like that. You would be a colonial again. But it's very strange to see young people playing the game of being wise and old men, you know. It disturbs me somehow. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful, but I told them, kill all the leopards, keep on. You should buy on internet, but most of them, they don't have internet in the village. You should buy fake skin of leopard, and then if you want to play with the skin of leopard, if everybody in Gabon wants to a skin of leopard, the leopard will disappear in 5 years, you know, in 2 years. But the same with this small musingi, you know, musingi, that's this you see. Mm-hmm. It's called, it's like a wild cat, you know. See wild cat? And it represents the cosmos, and it represents the human too. It represents a lot. It represents a lot, but it represents half of the Holy Spirit. What they call the Holy Spirit in the Christianized, if not, it's Kombinamingi, which means the main translation I do is it's the Holy Spirit, because when this old man in the village, the grandfather of a close child, said, "You white man, you always talk of Holy. Where is the Holy Spirit on your body?" I was very confused. Where is the Holy Spirit in my body? I don't know, buddy. Where is the Holy Spirit on my body? The guy shows this, you know. It's a tail, but where is the human tail? The human tail is half of the Holy Spirit. Because if you don't have a sex, and if she does not have a pussy, you don't have access to what they call the Holy Spirit, which is the kid, you know. So I don't know if you my logic, but what white men are calling Holy Spirit is Kombina Misingi, which means what they say in the Indian tradition, the Buddhist tradition, in the former Buddhist tradition, a lingam. You know, the way of presenting male and female energy was a human boy's sex into that's the first representation of the spirit, sex in another sex, you know, and that came here. So, but because where is the Holy Spirit? The Holy Spirit is on you. If you're a boy, it's your sex. For a woman, it's your sex. And the mixing of both make you the possibility to make a new spirit and to have a possible eternity through the life of your kids, you know. So it's very strange, this Holy Spirit thing, you know. And it's very basic and true too, but it's a question of, you see, oh, that's not Gabonese. Oh, you don't see, it's not, the photo is dead. It's two black men playing the game, sodomizing, you know. You don't see it properly. In fact, it's having a false sex in the hand and playing the game of sodomizing his friend, and everybody's funny, you know. So it's just a lot of joke about sex in Africa, in Europe too. It's not funny, but it's a lot of jokes around that Holy Spirit, because we came with this of no sex, no drugs, and no rock and roll. You know, it's very strange how we try to make wild population Christianized, and in Peru it's dramatic. I don't know. I said I wouldn't like to go to South because you cannot not see San Pedro, San Joseph, San Isabel, Santa. I used to say I don't believe in saint, I just believe sane, you know, because there's sane and insane, but saint, what's the saint? Eh? Mm-hmm. Does it exist, the saint?
I watched a documentary. I think you were in it. It was a short documentary, maybe 45 minutes. It was shot maybe 20 or 30 years ago. It was a filmmaker who came to Gabon and just shot different scenes in Gabon. And the very end of the film, I think they shot a Bwiti ceremony, and it was for this woman. And I found it very fascinating because they said the reason they were giving her Iboga is that she was sick. And when they asked her what her sickness is, the tribe said that she was jealous. And I found that so fascinating, that something that for most of us, we would take that to be so simple. Ah, she's jealous, it's no big deal. But for them, that had such a significance. Like that could literally not only ruin her, but it could ruin everyone else around. And they saw that that jealousy was the seed that they had to actually cure. And I found that so fascinating.
Yeah.
And much like you were saying, this idea of simplicity, like so much of these plant medicines, they obviously the experiences can be so grand, but at the root, as you were saying, it's coming back to these ideas of simplicity and truth, and something like jealousy is this power that can destroy us from within.
And I think I don't know Africa. I know a few countries in Africa, but this state of poor, if you're poor, if you're jealous, you can become a witch, you know, because you're jealous of your brother, your sister, your daughter, and this kills. It kills the relation. And you know that jealousy is the engine of witchcraft. I mean, jealousy is the first motivation of witchcraft. Because I want your talent, I want your money, I want life, I want your power. So I will try to, I do say in English, to make you small, you know, bullying or bullying. We'll bullying you, and I will talk bad of you because you're a bad man. So I will give gossip around you to make you, and you know what people did here, horrible, not Gabon. Well, they were mainly Gabonese, but taught by churches, by priests. If somebody had power or was a blacksmith or had knowledge about plants or was a great man, well known and good reputation as an important person in the traditional power, the priest, oh fuck, he makes noise, this guy. The priests were coming by night, make a kind of, you know, fetish. Fetish is not, even if it's not a fetish, it's, but I've been victim of that, so I know really what it is. You know, they put some old feathers, old blood of something, with broken needles, with, you know, a very object. They put that behind a place somewhere, in an importance in the village, because at night in a village you can come and do something that nobody sees. And then they come later, 2 months, 3 months, when they have time, they come to you, maybe after, and they say, oh, Jesus, we come in the name of Jesus. Sometimes I think they were waiting that there is a trouble or a conflict in the village, or somebody who died, or somebody who was very sick, and then they came Savior, and they find the thing they found the thing they put themselves in the ground somewhere, but they could find it because they knew where they put it, and they found it in the name of the Holy Spirit or Jesus Christ, who shown them that this man does witchcraft, and I will prove it, it's here. It could be behind his house, behind the tomb of somebody, you know, some place, some, say in language, in war language, yeah, a certain place, you know, so, and so I was condemned in front of all his kids, all his family. He was recognized as a witch, that he wasn't. He was just somebody important in the life, the traditional life. And then after, it was easy for the criminals to invade the place in the name of the Holy Spirit, who freed them from the evil. So that has been really developed by all type of priests. Protestant, same shit. On another hand, Christianity is very simple and it pleases people because traditional life is not easy, and some orthodox in traditional life make it difficult to access, or make it expensive to access, or make it not dangerous but difficult to access. So people, for different reasons, they go to the priest because it's simple, you know, the name of Jesus, you are saved, and that's all, and why not? If you believe in that, if it works for you, why not? I would say that it has been done very, very widely. I mean, but some priests did good job too, because the Catholic school, Protestant school were very, very, very practical and very cheap, and they made people who decide today what to do, but putting aside their own tradition, because you cannot go to the catechism and in the tradition. You could, but the catechism will say don't go to the tradition, and the tradition will allow you to go to the catechism normally, because this fascination of the Western world, you know, it's like that. So I don't know what the future will be on this coexistence of the different religions, but if we see how Islam or fake Islam is meeting past Christianity, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Very strange how it will be. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know if you have a question. I talk too much, you know.
No, this is amazing. Thank you so much. One question: a lot of people, when they hear about Iboga, they get confused with Ibogaine, the alkaloid. And a lot of people, I think, are starting now to work with Ibogaine as opposed to Iboga. And when, I mean, obviously I'm somewhat biased because I work with plants, and so I have an affinity to working with plants, in just not just the plant, but also a tradition that it comes from, and something with Iboga when I experienced it that I found so powerful was the actual ceremony, the dancing, and especially the music. I mean, I really felt the music somehow put my brain in a very particular state that I couldn't escape from. And it was during the death ceremony, and it was just like this loop. And without going too much into the personal process, I found the music to be integral to the process. It was like the music was driving the Iboga and putting me in a very particular state that was trying to teach me something. So what are your thoughts about working with Iboga and in the whole plant form, and with the ceremony, with the ritual, with the community, the way in which you're working, versus someone going to a clinic and taking Ibogaine, the synthetic alkaloid?
I know experience of Ibogaine, but it's like Iboga is a science developed from Iboga by people for centuries. This music is a male music and a female music. They don't play, they can't make a spiritual child. So I don't know how you can be more clever than nature, because Iboga bark, root bark, has many alkaloids. There are between 12 and 16 different alkaloids. And you are much, I mean, you scientist, you become much more clever than nature. Suddenly, you take one of the alkaloids and you say, that's the one. others rubbish, or not rubbish, but not important. So I don't know how you can be, it's the opposite of humble, it's arrogant to the level to think you stronger than nature, or you better, or you more clever than nature. It seems to be very too. I have a man who just came to today. He's doing iboga in Hawaii with people, and he wants to learn the skills of tradition. So he came to us yesterday. He's here for 2 or 3 weeks. I don't know enough about iboga. I know that iboga allowed a few persons, I don't know if it's many, to get addiction. Iboga does that too for many persons, but for some persons, I get ibogaine doesn't work. For a person, Iboga bar doesn't work. They have to do it again, or it doesn't work. I'm very suspicious about ibogaine because now we say ibogaine addiction, get rid of ibogaine. How many kilograms of work you need to have 100 grams of ibogaine? I don't know. I'm very worried about this ibogaine because ibogaine makes me coca leaf, and cocaine. But I mean, the fact that coca is coca, and one works on it, it becomes cocaine. Iboga is iboga, and man's do it, it becomes ibogaine. So I don't know. It's like man. Well, in Africa, we say man can be God because the name of man and the name of God can be the same. But it depends on act. If you are really positive and corrective. I have no real opinion about ibogaine because I never had ibogaine. And I don't want to have ibogaine like to have cocaine. I had cocaine once in my life and it was enough because I knew that if I was twice in cocaine, I would be still in cocaine. You see how it wants to trap you? Iboga trap you, but iboga maybe, I don't know. In fact, I don't know. Found it suspicious to be more clever than nature. How can you be more clever than nature? I don't know. What do you think about ibogaine? You had ibogaine?
No, I've never had ibogaine. I've never really had a desire to take it, but I would agree. I mean, as you said,
I don't know enough.
Yeah.
I don't know enough to do.
I mean, obviously there could be benefit, and some people seem to have benefit. So if it's working for people, then great. But also, I think, as you're saying, it's this way of reducing things to one substance. I mean, even just the bark, it's so much more complex. And when you remove it from the ritual, from the music, from the set and setting, that is so important in and of itself. I mean, even running ayahuasca ceremonies, the ayahuasca is incredibly powerful. I mean, that's the sacrament, that's the power. But the ceremony itself, the ritual, the doing it in a group, going through a shared experience, hearing the songs, that's also invaluable. That changes people too. And to just take any one piece out of that, I think is you're missing something of the whole.
I'm sure. As you said, for the music in Iboga, some people do Iboga in the dark, but not wrong. Iboga in Gabon, you must have at least one light, one fire, at least. And if you have no music, it doesn't work. It's not to work without music. As you said, is a vehicle. Your body and the music are the vehicle. If your body is one with the vehicle, with the music, which you reached the bottom of your or the bottom of universe, which is the same place somehow. But with music and the light, I think, I don't know more about that. I never tried to go with no music, no light. It seems to be very, you'd be lost in universe. Like maybe if you take a sleep on your own in a dark room with no music, I don't see the interest really, you know. Even my very past acid test, I would say, were with music, and not any music. You have to choose the music you want to listen, because if you want to improve yourself, you have to follow something in harmony with. And if you don't, we had a very famous ex-Indian actress. She came to Iboga because she was bulimic. And she didn't want music and she didn't want light. So she's still bulimic. She had no, I mean, her experience was just, but she didn't get the experience. She gave the money, we gave her Iboga, and she didn't want songs, she didn't want anything. So we just let her eat Iboga in the garden. We told her, this is not the way we do, but if you want that, you can do that. After 6 months after, she wrote me, she's still bulimic. I say, how do you want to get rid of your bulimia? Follow the way the healers know. It's true, we don't know everything, but at least we can try to help you to get rid of your addiction. But it's not, the main use of Iboga is not addiction. The main use of Iboga is to know yourself. Addiction is just, I said that in a film. It's like a trailer on your car, you know. The matter is the car, not the trailer. The trailer can help because you have a suitcase there, but to improve on your way. So if you come to Iboga and you want to do it yourself, buy Iboga on a website somewhere. You don't know where it will come from. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, maybe it's poison, you die from it. Maybe you will be in an ecstatic spirit. But don't think that it will help 100%. I don't know. It's very strange because most of the you find on internet is poached from Gabon, and it's sold in Cameroon. You cannot reproach to Cameroonian to sell Iboga because Cameroonian they want to survive too. They survive either in poaching Iboga in Gabon, either in poaching elephant because elephant plant Iboga, and Iboga because elephant eat Iboga. So Iboga, when elephant shit, Iboga makes elephant plant Iboga. All animals are eating Iboga.
Wow.
So they're planting Iboga, but as they are, and now the Cameroonians want to survive too, so they poach elephants and they poach Iboga. There's no law about exporting Iboga in their country, so they do export Iboga to the world, which is in lust. The world is in lust of psychedelics and psychotrops. The more there's a lust of it, because alcohol is so limited that everybody is fed up with alcohol. Everybody has been drunk once in his life, and it didn't change really his life to be drunk. But if somebody took a psychotrop, a good psychotrop, this might change his life forever. Which does not do alcohol. Simple alcohol does not change your life. It will help to be miserable. It will help you to stand your miserability. Timothy Leary used to say that. He used to say that alcohol is a degree 0 of spirituality.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so what would you recommend if someone is interested to maybe someone is thinking about Iboga and they're not sure if they want to do it? What would you recommend to someone who's thinking about coming? Does there need to be that internal call in them, and what are good things to think about before they come, and how to prepare themselves?
I think if you really want to have the Iboga experience, you have to feel the cold. You have to be cold for it. If you don't feel cold by the spirit of Iboga, don't come. But if you're called by the spirit of Iboga, contact people like us. There are a few, and see what you can do. But the problem is money, because you can fear Africa because Africa is a different continent. The only problem of Gabon is malaria. But this might be a problem for you because malaria is everybody has malaria. Once you come in Gabon, you may never have malaria, but you may have malaria. Debbie never had malaria in Peru, and she came 9 months ago. I think it's her third time she has malaria. But once you know what's malaria, you have the treatment of malaria. But there's two treatments of malaria. One is one is traditional, but it's not enough. And if you are a new age guy, you think traditional is enough. Yeah. Yes, traditional is very good, but it's not enough. For malaria, I mean. So you have to take the chemical pills. There's no second effect. You know, I took pills maybe, I don't know, 15 times in my 50 years of life here. Not 15 times, at least 12 times, yes. I never had second effect. But you have to, if you come to Gabon and if you leave Gabon, you have to have those pills with you, because the time they found out you have malaria when you're back to England or to Australia, you may die, because malaria is very vicious. And if you don't recognize it's malaria, malaria can kill you. But as far as I know, the 330 people who came to us from Western countries, one died of malaria, but it was not here. It was after. Then she left. She was a 60-year-old woman. She was a very beautiful woman that Andrea Minanga knows. And we gave her the pills and we said, please, if you feel suddenly old, articulation painful, bad thoughts, life is not worthwhile, take the pills against malaria. If not, you may die. But she had a wonderful experience of Iboga, so she thought her own God could win all type of death, and she died. I don't know, she came back to France. And it's very sad because she had the pills, but she didn't take them. And this morning, I met a guy here with a death guy of malaria too, but it's because he made the game of taking the pills, but he didn't take them. So he died because he thought the traditional healing would be enough. Because there's different types of malaria. You can have a really benign malaria, or you can have a really strong malaria. So if you want to have Iboga experience, come to Gabon. Don't go in a place where you will be beaten more than everywhere, because some people don't let you have a clothes on you during initiation, which is stupid. Because yes, in the past, people had no clothes when they were under Iboga effect. But by that time, people didn't last more than 40 years, as I told you, because malaria was strong and no medicine for it. Only good medicine, but not enough. So you know, you cannot come from, just imagine you're German, you come from Germany, then you get half naked in the forest for 2 weeks. And then if you have malaria, don't blame malaria, blame yourself, man, you know, because the mosquitoes knows that you're a fresh meat for him, you know. Oh, what a wonderful fresh meat this morning, my dear. And because just imagine a German who had a lot of cow milk and a lot of cheese and a lot of good food from Germany coming in the middle of Gabon. It looks like a fresh antelope, you know. So that's a problem. A lot of, you know, this movement of new ecological, clever, more clever than the past generation. They are vegan, of course, which is good, in fact. But you don't have to be against some progress of Western medicine. Or, yeah, I mean, for malaria, Western medicine has been excellent. And compared to what was, you know, when I came to Gabon, I was 21. When you had malaria, you stayed 3 days in bed with a fucking fever, you know, and you couldn't move. You were vomiting like a shit, you know, and you were very bad state. Now, if you take those pills at the right 1 hour after the first symptoms, because of course with experience you know the symptoms, you get the pills and you have no side effects, and in I would say in 12 hours you're again who you are. So it's, you know, it's a French proverb, don't be more royalist than the king, you know. Something like that. Because if you want Iboga, come to Iboga, but it has to be a call. Don't go to eat Iboga because Iboga is fashionable, or because your friend told you to go and eat Iboga. You know why Iboga is not allowed in France? Iboga is not allowed in France, and it's not allowed in Denmark for the same type of reason. That the guy was an addict. He was sent by a psychologist to somebody in the south of France. By the time it was not forbidden, so the psychologist sent the kid, because his wife, the wife of the kids, the man had 2 kids with a woman. She said, if you don't get rid of heroin addiction, I will leave you with the kids. I will take the kids and go. So the guy went to Iboga to please his wife. But this don't work, man, unless you really love your wife more than yourself. So the guy went to the south of France to please the psychologist and the wife, his wife. And he went in a place where it was not especially bad, but it was not well cared. And the guy had 3 spoons of Iboga in a night. It's like you give 10 grams of rump steak to a lion who is hungry. It's nothing. 3 spoons of Iboga to a drug addict is nothing. So the guy had 3 spoons of Iboga, and when the guy taking care of him went upstairs to ask the manager, what shall we do with the addicts down there? While that time he was having a syringe of heroin, and he died straight because he had 3 spoons of Iboga in the blood. Now heroin injected, and he died, heart attack. And then they said, oh, it's not heroin who killed the guy, it's Iboga, of course. So that's how they made Iboga not allowed in France. And in Denmark, it was a similar thing. It's a psychiatrist who gave Iboga to somebody, and this somebody jumped by the window because he thought maybe it was a bird or so he died. And even in Holland, a woman giving Iboga to people gave Iboga to a guy who wanted to leave, and she couldn't help him leaving, so he left. He went to get pissed in a bar, and then he took his motorbike and he had a crash against a truck and he died. So she's in jail, Sarah Glatt. She's in jail for 6 months already. Because Iboga is no joke. It is everything you want except a joke. But would you say ayahuasca is a joke? No. You can joke with ayahuasca, but ayahuasca won't joke with you. That's it. But I don't know ayahuasca, but I know Iboga. You can joke with Iboga, but Iboga is no joke. You can laugh, but if you take the mic of Iboga, Iboga will show you that you don't have to mock divine, you know. Divine is more clever than you are. And divine is deciding of what, you know, it comes, it's like one of our Gabonese masters says, Iboga from another planet. It means, I think, it means that Iboga is like, you know, this Akasha concept, Akasha concept. It's that the strength, this energy who makes all the cosmos work, you know. This is divine, you know. This is what's much more than us. So we are part of the one, but this one is part of us, and it works like that. And if you think this is a joke, laugh. Alan Watts used to say, the best meditation is you wake up and you laugh. And that's true. You can, yeah. But it's not always easy to laugh because you have, you know, this world is not always funny. Yeah? So I'm closing the windows because of mosquitoes. So that's it. I should make you visit the village, but it's a little late because the night came. Maybe as the night came, the hammering sound is off. Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like the night sounds of the jungle in the Amazon.
Yeah, it's the same time, eh?
Mm-hmm.
You're in the north part of Peru.
Actually, more the southern part, but in the Andes, we're quite high up here. I think we're at 3,000 meters, something like that.
Yes, yes. It's cold, yes.
A little chilly.
C'est bon? Lui, il est au Pérou, là. Yes.
Salut.
Etudia, yes. Salut. On a fait toute une émission radio. Ouais, depuis. Yeah, how many times we did? 2 hours? No, not
yeah,
yet.
We're actually over 2 hours now. So, I mean, you probably need to get going. I don't want to keep you too much longer. But is there anything else you'd like to talk about or to address?
I would have many things to say, but Zonzo, tu vois, ce monsieur-là, il est du Pérou. Hein? Lui, ça fait 2 heures que je lui parle d'Iboga. Hein? Lui, il soigne avec l'ayahuasca là-bas. Oh. Et donc, il me dit, est-ce que tu as quelque chose à ajouter sur l'Iboga? Tu aurais quelque chose à dire sur l'Iboga? Je vais lui traduire en anglais. This guy fell in Iboga when he was a kid, you know. Wow. So I think he has nothing to say. Donc, rien à dire, comme tu es tombé dedans. C'est ça, hein?
L'Iboga, c'est comme ça.
Si,
Forcément.
dis-moi. Pas long.
Avec l'Iboga, quand tu as le pali, tu peux prendre ça, ça te soigne.
Yes.
La pierre, ça te donne de la force.
Mm-hmm. He says, when you have fever, Iboga gives you strength. When you have malaria, Iboga can participate to heal you. That's his word. That's it. Hein?
Moi, quand je joue même au foot, je prends mon bois sacré, je suis tranquille.
Even when he plays football, it takes some Iboga to be stronger.
Très bien, merci.
Voilà. And yes, this is a Spanish man, but he speaks English, but he's a Spanish man. This guy is in Peru.
Oh, hola.
Yes.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Sí, bien, bien.
C'est un ami de...
Ah, okay.
Il est à
Okay,
Cusco,
okay.
Cusco.
Oh, that's very high, no? Cusco.
3,000
Yeah,
meters.
quite high.
One
Three
minute.
or 4,000 meters.
You're habituated already.
10 years.
Oh, 10 years. Oh, okay. Okay, man. Nice meeting
Yes.
you.
Ciao,
Take
bye.
care.
This guy had a dream, and now he makes he has complices, and they travel with tourists in Gabon, you know, to show them the remote places, beauties of
great.
Gabon. But he had a dream. A dream made him come, you know.
Wow.
Yeah,
True.
true, true. That's Constantine. Constantine is my sister for 31 years.
Salut. Bonsoir. Buenas tardes.
Sí, sí. She's from Equatorial Guinea, next door.
Ah, okay.
She came here in 75.
Wow. Sí, estoy bien. Gracias.
Voilà, bon. Now go back to Debbie. That's a temple. You can see.
I can hear the music.
Yeah. That's a parrot.
Wow.
It's a medicine. The kid is making medicine for malaria.
Wow.
Against malaria. Your friend is still on. Huh? This guy just come from the States.
No, from England. He's Australian.
No, he's an Australian American Polishman.
Hi,
And
nice
very
to
soon a
meet you.
big guy too. That's a temple. Huh?
Ah, beautiful.
And you know this girl. She's
Yeah,
here.
we kind of know
Are
each
you
other.
having fun? Is he looking after?
This is Debbie, my colleague from the Temple of the Way of Light.
Yes, yes, yes. She told me you were colleagues. Ah, toi, tu attends manger, hein? Tu veux aller au... Shall we each other? Did we...
It sounds like you've developed a wonderful relationship, guys.
Yeah. Oh, no, I know. I spend time talking. I talk.
Great.
So I'm talk.
It
Okay.
was,
Great.
it was
French, you say
perfect.
talk, you know. It's perfect.
You should ask him when he's coming.
When do you ask him?
No, no, no.
No,
This is
I
your
don't
podcast.
ask anybody. I
Yeah,
won't
and
give
it's
money.
Talking about your new position, inviting people to come here.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. In fact, because he asked me, what would you advise to people coming to Iboga? I said, if they don't have an inner call, don't come, because Iboga is no joke. Eh? I could say, come, whatever you feel, come, but you know, it's a long trip. It's cost money. It's motivation you have to have. But if you have motivation, if you have a call to come, it works. But it works. Are you in needs of something which works, or you know? I don't like to advertise Iboga because in this world all information are on.
You missed the whole point, though.
Huh? But Hey,
No, I'm sick. I don't know.
Elima, she's sick, doesn't want to talk. Well, I mean, you know, I'm not a travel agency to Iboga, but people might come to us, and I can lead them to many people. Not many, about 5 or 6, 7 would be enough to decide who and where. That's what I can do. That's what I would even like to do, because I don't want to grab the world people coming to Gabon. You know, I'm not the one. I'm one of the one. I'm one of the one. So that's it. I want to promote, but I don't need to promote because people are coming to us, you know, without calling them. You know. We call them by the webinar, by the film we done, but we only call them if they accept to come, you know. Because she said, "What about you? Would you like to come?" It's not a like. Do you need to come? You know, if it pleases you to come, if it calls you to come, come. But if you, like me, I'm not called at all by ayahuasca. Maybe wrong. I don't say ayahuasca is bad or good. I don't know. I guess it's good because if not, people wouldn't do it. But I don't have the call for ayahuasca because maybe it's not too late. But after 49 years here, I don't feel like spending 49 years in another place because it would lead me to 150, and then I'm not fresh enough, you know.
Well, as I can say,
my friend, I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I know Debbie very well, and she speaks very highly of you and the center. And when I worked with Iboga, it was through Andrea, who I think you also know and work with. And for me, it was at that time, it was the most, I think, complete experience I had ever had. And so, if anyone is interested in coming, I think they would be in very good hands with you.
I think you know, I think love made me go to Iboga, and I'm very grateful to what life gave to me because I had a breakdown. I'm nice people. Then I had this experience of Iboga twice in 2 different tribes, one in the south, one in the north. No, it was one in the north, one in the south, in 15 years of difference. And I don't regret anything except being stupid sometimes. Like this morning, I went to the airport and I don't see the parrot on the ground, so I crashed the parrot this morning. And I feel very bad about it, but there's some big dramas in this world that this parrot didn't suffer. But I didn't see him. He was like a chicken this morning, this parrot, and I missed it. I didn't miss it. It was a female parrot, very nice girl, and very young, so it's sad. But it's a tale compared to the suffering of this world, you know. So, and if I was superstitious, I would say, oh, it's very bad luck to kill a parrot. Yes, it's bad luck if you believe it's bad luck. Because we make our destiny every. So.
Wow.
If you want to come, it will be with pleasure. And if you want to talk again or see more of the center, I can lead you among the places here and to present you the people. Because 3 of our active members will be back tomorrow, because they are working in the original village where we left the widow of Papa Andre. She's a widow, kind of alone in the village, and the kids went to clean the place, cut the trees falling on the house, and clean and make instruments of music and torches, resin torches. And I'm very glad that people like Debbie are coming to us because she's very good brain for making it work, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we have another volunteer from Switzerland. She's a girl, half Swiss, half Thailand. She has a very good skills to put things in order and it works. So, and like we have this Spanish guy coming to us because he had a dream and making what he can to develop ecotourism and dispensary in a remote village and a school. He's very goodwill man. You know. So I used to say when we play, we calling goodwill people, and goodwill people came. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you are a goodwill man. I see you that on you, you know, because apart from goodwill, well, we can do wrong with goodwill, but if you really have goodwill, you won't do really wrong, never, I think. Or you will see that you're doing wrong, I hope, without before doing it.
Yeah.
So
Tatayo, thank
what's
you
your
very
name,
much. I really appreciate it, and you know, just getting to speak to you has really been a pleasure. And those things you spoke about what these plant medicines are pointing to, about humility and truth, I really see that in you, and I really thank you for sharing. And you know, I think you have a lot of wisdom, and it's beautiful to get that out and to let people just see that and hear that in a very humble and real way. You know, as you were saying, I think there's a lot of like kind of woo-woo and new agey stuff in this work, and ultimately it's very human. And then to hear the experience from a human who's gone through it, I think is a beautiful thing. And I think a lot of people will get a lot out of this. And I hope some people can reach out to you. And I also hope we one day meet. I've felt the calling to go to Gabon one day. It's I knew I needed some time after that last experience, but one of these days it's going to be coming. So.
Yes. You know, we had a father and a son from Haiti, and they became American. And they let me a testimonial, which is very nice, because the son is Ezria. Ezria is a very clever boy, very shiny, humble, and beautiful. And I told the father, I said, how can you be the father of a so marvelous guy? He said, I have 2 kids. I just told them three things, which is honesty, integrity, and loyalty. And since that day, I realized that that's the path of Ebando. Those 3 points in the way. Because if you not honest, it doesn't work. If you know integrity, it doesn't work. And sometimes we have no integrity. You say to somebody, I will be there in 10 minutes, and you are there 2 hours after. That's not integrity. And loyalty is evident. Without loyalty, it's only mistreating. But it's because if this Jesus Christ, we only know him because of the treat, Judah, you know, Judah Iscariot. So treats are useful, but whatever. I don't know if that story is true. So whatever. What I know, it's my story is true. So, and I know that I thank you very much, the cosmos, for being liked like I am. It's incredible. Because everybody says, you are a great man, you did great thing in your life. No, I say, I had the luck to only do the things I liked, which is incredible. It seems to be impossible to most of the people to do only the things they like. So it's only 70 years, but it's already working. Like my daughter wrote to me, she saw a proverb, because I have the reputation to be very generous. So my daughter said, Tata, I saw a proverb, generosity is never stupid. I said to my daughter, I don't know if it's never stupid, because maybe it might be stupid sometimes to be stupid, but it works because I'm 70, I have no retirement money or whatever, but people like you are interested in my life, and it makes me feel very thankful to the people who gave me Iboga, and to Iboga, and to the cosmos, or to God, or whatever we call it. I'm fed up with calling God God, so I call God love. That love is God, and God is love, and love is good, and good is love, or whatever. We'll see. We will see what happens. So I'm very pleased to have met you. And I want to know your complete name.
It's
Your name, your cousin, and
Jason Grachanik. It's Jason Sedhana Grachanik is my full name. It's a Ukrainian or Belarusian last name.
Ukrainian, yes. We have an Ukrainian here. His name is Alashko, his family name. And we have another Ukrainian, but Yemen too. Yemen Ukrainian, mother and father. He just left. He's the co-founder of Blessing of the Forest, which is a very honest NGO who plants Iboga in Gabon, in the villages, among community villages organized in cooperatives or in NGO. And they just planted in 7 villages, and they are financed by people like David Bronner, and they are very honest, and I'm very thankful to them, because if Iboga takes the importance it seems to begin to have, we will need to have planted Iboga by villagers which will have the benefits of planting Iboga and selling Iboga, and it will be fair trade Iboga, a good origin quality, and it will be good for everybody. Because if all addicts needs 2 plants of Iboga, Iboga will be very soon off or endangered. I mean, so blessingoftheforest.org is a very nice project.
Okay.
So I make publicity for them more than Ebando. Ebando, the mouse to ear talk, it works. But BOTF needs some support.
Yeah.
That's why I talk of them, because they are very, and if people think I'm honest, I can guarantee they are honest. So that's it.
Well,
so
wonderful.
in the future,
Tatayo.
if you want good quality, yeah, wonderful to you.
Well,
Remind me your Ukrainian name.
Sorry, go ahead. There's a little bit of a delay.
I will see the spelling of your, because as a guy who learned to read and write very early, if I don't see the written, I don't remember the name. I will see. I will ask Debbie.
Yeah.
To give me your contact.
Yeah, I'll send it to you, and I'll also put these links in the show so people know how to reach out to you, Ibando, and the blessings of the forest too. And I hope people do. And I wish you all the best. And I'd love to talk again sometime. That'd be amazing.
I'm sorry because I talk too much. It's radio.
That's the whole point of the podcast is people want to hear you, not me. So
to hear you too. So because it's a very, it's like I talk to my psychoanalyst or to my priest, and you didn't put your finger in my ass, so it's very nice. Thank you.
Well, beautiful, Tatayo. Thank you so much. I wish you the best, and I hope we talk again soon, and I hope we meet one day too. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I used to do that now.
Très bien. Yeah, we talk soon.
Yes, man. Anytime.
Yeah, thank you. All right, everybody, that is it. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. It was one of my favorite interviews. I didn't have to do much. He went into a lot of different topics, and I felt really honored and fortunate to be able to interview him and really to hear about some of his stories and his experience working with Iboga. So that's it for today's episode. If you're able to help support the show, Patreon is a really good option. Subscribing via Patreon gives you added access, things like early access to shows, Q&As, extended interviews, bonus material. So if you're able to do that, I deeply appreciate it. Thank you very much to everyone who has done that. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. Also, there's the option through PayPal, direct donation. And then if you're not able to do that financially, just going on the YouTube channel, hitting the subscribe button, turning on the notification bell, and liking the video is a really big help. And for the audio version, going on Apple Podcasts, subscribing to the show, and leaving a starred rating and a review. That's a really big help in getting this show out to a bigger and broader audience. I believe the next show is going to be, I've been saying this for a while, but I think we're finally going to make it happen with my friend and colleague Marav, talking about tobacco and her process and some of the work she does and that we actually do together. So hopefully that will be the next episode. I'm not sure after that. I've got a few different guests lined up, but I'm not sure the exact order, but I'm sure they will be good. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode and the show in general, and I will see you all on the next episode.